Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm and energetic welcome to Angela Constance MSP.
Well, good morning, and my apologies for my lateness. I'm afraid we had some unforeseen issues and logistical challenges, but I am nonetheless really delighted to be here this morning. As Sheila said, I'm stepping in for John Swinney, Cabinet Secretary for Finance and Sustainable Economic Growth. It always makes my husband chuckle immensely anytime I have to stand in for the Finance Secretary as someone who is a self-confessed shopaholic. Someone who my husband says wouldn't know how to balance their chequebook, never mind run the country. Can I say it's absolutely fabulous to be at an event that is jam-packed full of women, and no offence to the men who for once are the minority of the audience. So it's absolutely superb to be in an event where the majority for once is women. My interests in women in enterprise are twofold. As the Minister for Youth Employment, I lead the all-government, all-Scotland approach to tackling youth unemployment, and we're having some success. Youth unemployment is currently the lowest it's been in 3 years. Nonetheless, there's still a huge job of work to do to improve the situation. But enterprise and self-employment is one of the very important strands in our youth employment strategy, and I want for young people and young women to see self-employment as a positive choice and not just as a route out of unemployment. And that's one of the reasons why I, as a Minister, and the Scottish Government, why we work so closely with the Prince's Trust in that regard. I also have a portfolio responsibility for broader issues, broader skills issues, and women's employment issues. I was the Minister who led the Women's Employment Summit, the first ever Women's Employment Summit that the Scottish Government held last year. And in terms of the work and the ideas that day generated, I chaired the strategic group for women in work to take forward that very broad agenda. But let me start by saying that events such as today are very important because they demonstrate the determination to succeed that exists in Scotland. And as a government, we're absolutely committed to seeing all of Scotland's people enjoy the benefits of economic growth. And we recognise that enterprise is a key driver for enabling this, so we're very pleased to support and work with organisations that share that aspiration and goal. So I want to congratulate Women in Enterprise Scotland and the Association of Scottish Businesswomen for pulling together what I'm very confident will be a very valuable day indeed. Now, we are a nation that is rich in economic potential. Our people are creative, ambitious and resilient. We are home to world-class science and business leaders. And across the globe, Scotland is recognised as a great place to do and grow business. And we have a reputation forged by generations of enterprising Scots, and a reputation made in no small part due to the stellar success of women like Anne Gloag and Michelle Moen. Yet our recent past does not contain as much growth as it should. And this is why entrepreneurial activity matters. It is the driver for increased productivity and economic growth. And entrepreneurs bring ambition, leadership, drive and determination both to our economy and to our society. And it's by unleashing that economic potential that we will deliver sustained and sustainable growth. And we are seeing a new spirit of entrepreneurship continue to grow and develop in Scotland. Public, private and third sector partners are working together like never before to ensure that our nation grows and succeeds. And the Scottish Edge Fund, I believe, is a fabulous example of this. It's a £2 million initiative developed jointly by Entrepreneurial Spark, the Royal Bank of Scotland and the public sector. And I'm very pleased to say that half of its first round winners back in February were women. So this government is committed to creating a supportive business environment, and many of our business policies respond to the needs of small, medium-sized enterprises, such as the Small Business Bonus Scheme, reducing unnecessary regulatory burdens and making it easier for small businesses to access public sector contracts. And the public sector offers a range of support for SMEs, from specific initiatives delivered through local authorities and universal services delivered through Business Gateway. And the enterprise agencies offer support to small and medium-sized enterprises with growth potential, and Skills Development Scotland has a range of support, including our skills force, which is bringing together national and local information and offers on recruitment and workforce development. So the government is developing a portal to make it easier for businesses to access all the relevant information that they need from the government and the wider public sector, and it enables businesses to search for information and practical advice, as well as identifying what public sector support is available for their businesses. And having easier access to the skills system for businesses is something that's very important to me as the Minister for Youth Employment, because the untapped potential in terms of young people and getting young people into business, I have no doubts, is small to medium-sized enterprises. And as I go forward with the Make Young People Your Business campaign, that's about presenting the economic and the business case for recruiting young people. I want to be taking that message to small to medium-sized businesses in particular, and the quid pro quo has to be, as a government, we have to be making it easier, particularly for small businesses, to get access into offers, recruitment incentives, and just that wider access into the skills system, as well as creating a skills system that is responsive to the needs of business. And tackling issues in and around the gender gap in the world of work is also important to me. Matters such as occupational segregation, and ensuring that young women today are aware of the full range of career choices available to them, and that's something that we will be taking forward as a government. We know that compared to other regions in the UK, fewer women in Scotland are self-employed, and only 18% of SME employers are women-led. So this position simply must be improved, and this is why we held a session specifically on women in enterprise at Scotland's first Women's Employment Summit last September. And we are committed to raising the profile of women's entrepreneurship. And following the summit, the Scottish Government facilitated a series of workshops chaired by Professor Sarah Carter of the Hunter Centre and Jackie Brereton of Women in Enterprise Scotland. And Professor Carter makes plain the potential of further enabling women's involvement and success in enterprise. And the figures she has provided show that if women in Scotland were to start businesses at the same rate as men, we could see economic growth at 5.3%. And that's quite a startling figure, and one that I think demonstrates the importance of the issue. And the other figure that is really struck a chord with me, that if women were to start businesses at the same rate as men, that would actually create 35,000 more jobs, something that would be close to my heart as an employment minister. So the outcome of these workshops have now been brought together, and I'm absolutely delighted to launch today the consultative draft framework for women's enterprise in Scotland. And this document has been led and created by those who attended the workshops facilitated by the Scottish Government. And its purpose is not to propose a set of answers, but to ask you to further contribute to their discussions. My officials will continue to support this activity and facilitate the creation of a more substantive framework of actions to be co-produced with all partners later on in this year. And I very much hope that many of you will contribute your thoughts and ideas for the best way forward to promote entrepreneurship and to encourage many more women to consider setting up in business. And we need to harness the female entrepreneurial spirit and see more female ambassadors being publicly profiled as role models. And I very much look forward to hearing how things are progressing later this year, and I very much hope that you will all have an enjoyable and successful day, and wish you every success with all of your endeavours. So thank you very much for your patience and for listening, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Minister. Inspiring words, and I think we're all really delighted about being able to launch the framework today. And there's actually some copies of the framework on some of your tables, and we'll be giving you information on how to access that later. So, could I ask if there are any questions that we can put to Angela? I know you're not a shy bunch. Got a lady here. Do we have a roving mic? If you could say your name and an organisation, that would be great.
My name's Cathy Gladwin from Jordan Shore. You were talking about the issues of getting people into employment, youth employment, and helping, in a way, paying companies to take youngsters on. From my own family experience, it needs to be managed better, because not only with my daughter but other people I know of, they are taken on, companies get their lump sum for taking a person on, and it's almost a hire and fire, and then they start all over again. And I've heard on that in quite a few issues where even within the NHS they get rid of very good people because it's the end of that work placement and the people are going back on the heap. So there's not much you can do about it, but I just want to raise the awareness, if you weren't aware of it, from hands-on positions.
I actually believe, Cathy, that there is something you can do about it, because one of the things that we need to learn from previous recessions and previous economic downturns is you don't want a revolving door where young people participate in a scheme or work experience just then to have to go back and claim benefits. And much of our thinking in terms of the initiatives and the policies that we support is either about achieving sustainable employment, or it's about young people progressing into work or progressing towards work. And if I can give you some examples, The modern apprenticeship scheme in Scotland is quite different from apprenticeship schemes that operate elsewhere in the UK. And the absolute golden thread of our modern apprenticeship scheme is the employed status. So every young person that's in an apprenticeship is actually employed. So apprenticeships are linked to real jobs. And we've done a bit of research earlier this year, because what we want, we want our money and we want our endeavours to lead to sustained employment. And what we actually know that for people of all ages who complete an apprenticeship, 92% of them will be in work 6 months later. And I think for young people that figure is about 81%. So that's a proven, credible route into work. And of course we have, for the second year running as a government, met our target to deliver 25,000 ME starts for the second year running. Other programmes, for example, Community Jobs Scotland, it's a paid work experience programme in the third sector. Now, 57% of the young people who participate in that programme are going on to positive destinations. Things like Talent Scotland, which is a Scottish Enterprise Highland and Islands Enterprise initiative for graduates to do a paid internship. 75% of those people go on into employment. So we're very keen to stick to the things that work. And it's about creating schemes and initiatives that are, if you like, demand-led, as opposed to a supply-side measure. And one of the initiatives that we'll be moving forward with this year, and we'll be making a further announcement on it very, very soon, is our employment recruitment incentive. It's a £25 million fund. It's essentially a 50% wage subsidy for 6 months. Local councils will bid in for that, but then they have to be working with local employers, small and medium-sized employers who are going to provide jobs. And we want to get the balance there right. In terms of we want to make it easy for businesses to participate in that scheme, but we have to know that we're getting some additionality for our money, and we're not just funding positions that would be created anyway. So we are giving much thought to things that will lead to sustainable employment for young people. And one of the things in terms of your agenda today, I was very struck by the statistics in terms of how comparatively few women we have in enterprise in Scotland compared to elsewhere in UK, because much of my time is spent engaging with business. And as I said, the untapped potential for me is small and medium-sized enterprises. Most big companies have some sort of youth recruitment policy, but there's this untapped potential, small and medium-sized businesses, that I need to persuade that actually if you're serious about business growth, take on a young person. We've got young, talented, enthusiastic Scots. We know young people are loyal to people who give them their first big chance. Young people have skills that, I'm thinking in particular about technology that some of us have great difficulty with. There's an economic case for diversity in the workforce, and I'm very keen that I have that dialogue with small to medium-sized enterprises. And I wonder, and I don't know the answer to this is maybe just red hair, pure speculation on my behalf, but I wonder what would happen if more of those businesses were led by women. I think there's a huge appetite in the business community just now to do more for our young people, but I just pose the question. I'm not suggesting the answer, but I wonder what would happen if more of our small and medium-sized businesses were led by women, and whether that would have any impact in the dialogue that I have with the business community, and whether it would have any impact on our success in getting more young people employed in smaller businesses.
Thanks very much. I think we've got another question down here.
Hi there, my name's Alex Lambert. I'm from Women Onto Work. I just wanted to ask, what ideas do you have for supporting single mothers to transition from benefits into business ownership?
Well, that's a very good question. I did, of course, say I'd be happy to take questions. Never said that I had all the answers. If I can make this is going to sound like a political point, but it's actually a factual, pragmatic point. One of my great frustrations as a Scottish minister is I don't have any control over welfare. I don't have any control over Job Centre Plus. I don't have any control over the tax or the benefits system. And for me, in terms of moving forward and supporting more women into work, either women who are leaving education in terms of young women who are making that transition from education into employment, or women who've been at home caring for their families, or women who've been, I suppose, trapped by unemployment and lack of opportunity. The key to unravelling all of that is to link in what we do in education and skills with the needs of the labour market. But all of that we have to use the tax and the welfare system to underpin the work that we're doing. So I have, my own thoughts about things like Job Centre Plus and its effectiveness. I have my own thoughts about the effectiveness of things like the work programme, which is about long-term unemployed people. But I don't have the ability to control or change any of that, and to really join up our education and skills system with the local labour market. Now, I have political views about how and why that should change. So I hope you don't mind me bringing that in. I am actually trying to make a pragmatic point as opposed to a political one.
No, I understand that, but what the Scottish Government does have some control over, obviously, is how you target business support. And we work with a lot of single mothers who are on income support, who are looking to start enterprises, and for actually a few £1,000s, they would be supported to take the risk, take the jump to move off benefits and start their own enterprises. So in terms of getting some bang for your business support buck, it's not really a welfare issue, it's about targeting business support.
Yeah, I'm just saying, actually, it's about everything, and it's about that package of support and package of powers. I think there is a good point about microfinance. I noticed that's in the paper that's launched today. There is an MSP who represents Midlothian, who has worked really hard with his local business community to take forward a business incubator idea. And a lot of his work and endeavours, it's about, because he's been lobbying me, is about access to small amounts of money that perhaps takes away fears about risk, and that, it's like microfinance. It's, I suppose that, a really kind of obvious example is, somebody that wants to be a window cleaner, needs some funds for, fairly simple, equipment. So I think there is a point about microfinance. I think there's a point about childcare. Again, you can't radically overhaul childcare provision without tax and benefits, but as a government we are determined to do everything within our powers, particularly with regards to childcare, and we will move through the Children and Young People's Bill, just recently published, introduced to Parliament by Aileen Campbell, the Children's Minister. We will move from 475 hours to 600 hours of nursery, early years and childcare provision for 3 and 4-year-olds.
Thanks very much. I think that's an open invitation, Alex, to lobby for the microfinance recommendation or the action that we've outlined. And I think that would be welcomed by a lot of organisations. I think we've got time for one more question before we have to break up. We have somebody down here.
Yeah, my name is George Smith, and I'm the Business Development Manager for Scotland for an organisation called the Prince's Initiative for Mature Enterprise. We help people who are over 50 to look at setting up their own businesses. And given what you said about women being very underrepresented in business startup in Scotland, I wonder if there were any plans to look at anything within the framework about assisting ladies over 50 who would like to set up a business.
That's a good point. I mean, let me be clear, while my day-to-day unrelenting focus is on young people, and I make absolutely no apologies for this. One of the things that I'm very conscious of, particularly in terms of the labour market and enterprise, is that if you're not creating and supporting opportunities for older people, that actually has a knock-on effect and a constraining effect on young people that you're trying to bring on in to the world of work. I would be interested to hear more about what could be done to support women over 50 in terms of starting up their own business, because I mean, this is again anecdotal, but I think one of the most underrated commodities is actually the wealth of life experience that many people will have, and a lot of that life experience may have taken place out with the labour market. So we have to be creative and inventive in terms of harnessing people's potential. We're all living longer. That has to be good. That has to be welcomed. There is a whole agenda, not without its controversies in terms of pensions. So I suspect many of us, as well as living longer, will indeed be working longer, and it would seem to me that there would be some opportunities that would suit many people over the 50 in terms of pursuing self-employment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to tie the session up now, but there will be lots of opportunity to contribute questions at the debate later this morning. Could I ask you to give Angela Constance a huge thank you? Thank you.